Welcome to another episode of the Maine State of Mind. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg, and my co-host, Adam Morissette, will be joining us here pretty soon via Zoom to do this episode. He's in Illinois dealing with some family things and some pet stuff and moving some stuff back to Maine this week. So he's not able to join us in person, but he's here via Zoom for this episode with Jack Watkins of Spencer's Ice Cream in Bradley, Maine. Jack, Adam, and I talked about how Jack started taking over the business when he was 18. What he likes about doing the business, dealing with the business during the pandemic, what people's favorite flavors are, what his favorite flavors are. We even talked about his memory of the first time he ever had Spencer's ice cream, and so much more. So you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Visit our website, themainstateofmind.com. You can also now subscribe and watch these videos on YouTube. You can also visit Facebook and Instagram to find Spencer's Ice Cream, as well as their website, spencersicecream.com, to learn more about Spencer's and their business as well. So this is a great episode. I really enjoyed it. This is myself and our co-host, Adam, along with Jack Watkins of Spencer's Ice Cream in Bradley, Maine, for another episode of The Maine State of Mind. Thanks for listening, everybody, and enjoy. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the podcast.
Great. How are you doing, Justin?
I'm doing wonderful. We got Jack here. How's it going, Jack?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, just back at it. Now we have Adam as a co-host, which is pretty sweet. Adam is remote. So Adam is this first episode. Adam's the actual co-host of, and Adam is in Illinois. I don't know how that works.
I did that just to make it complicated. So.
It was funny too, because I could tell Adam was fishing at it, Jack. So Adam was texting me and was like, "Hey, when are we recording again?" And I'm like, "Monday." He's like, "Well, what if I do it via Zoom because I don't want to come back yet? Is that cool?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. We'll figure it out."
Well, we had this day where we were like, why don't we move stuff back with us while we're here? That would be smart.
So, I mean, in the future, we'll get Jack back on too, and we'll do ice cream in person. That would be the way to do it. We all sit down around on a podcast table and eat some Spencer's ice cream. That's the way to do a podcast. I mean, that's why when you do beer ones, you got to do around beer people. You got to drink beer around them too. So it's the same thing with ice cream. You got to drink ice or eat ice cream, drink ice cream. Well, I guess you could drink ice cream, right?
I don't see why not.
Milkshakes, yeah. See, he's got it there. So I got a random question for you, Jack, as we get started here. Do you remember your first ice cream from Spencer's? Like the first one you ate?
I do actually. I was I think second or third grade, and we took a field trip to the logging museum in Bradley, and we came down here after, and I remember I got the black raspberry, the first time I'd ever had black raspberry in my life, and I absolutely loved it. So I think that's probably been my favorite, honestly, ever since too.
I think it's a lot of people's favorites. I don't know if I see it. My wife loves black raspberry. I mean, pretty much from anywhere. Whenever there's black raspberry options on a menu, she picks it up. So, but yeah, that's a fun little thing. Second grade, huh? I mean, for you, it's not as long ago as it is for Adam and I, but it's still a while ago.
It definitely is.
So I'll reverse the question on you, Justin. What was your first favorite ice cream flavor?
What color? I mean, it's not Gatorade. Gatorade's the flavors by color, right? It's not actual.
Yeah, right.
No one knows what the flavor of the red is. It's just red.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first ice cream. I don't remember that. I mean, I'm not into ice cream like Jack is, so I don't remember my first ice cream. I do honestly think that because I moved away from Bangor area when I was 20 or 18, 19, 20, right around there. And we were just, my mom's up visiting because my son was born. So she's up visiting, taking care of the son, and helping me take care of and being with us and obviously holding him and caring for him and all that stuff. But we were at the Bangor Mall and Hogan Road intersection when you get off the highway. And we were saying when I was younger, we had no connections to Orono, to Milford, to Bradley, to all those places that we never really went north of Hogan Road. There was no reason for us to go past the mall. And it wasn't until I was probably in like 18 or years old or so. I had a buddy who moved to Milford, and I would drive from Orrington, the back roads up through Eddington and past Spencer's. But I don't think I had my first Spencer's ice cream until I moved back in 2017, 16 area. So I think honestly, I will say it probably was the chocolate peanut butter from Spencer's. That was the first one I had when I came back. So it wasn't that long ago, but I do think I mean, you dropped off when we did the beer for Warner Brewing Company. You dropped off quite a bit that I think it's all I ate for 3 weeks for lunch. But yeah, that chocolate peanut butter probably was the remembering of Spencer's at least. First ice cream, I don't know. You put the spot on me there, Adam.
That's the point.
I know, but put the pressure on me, not the guest, right?
Exactly. I told him this is going to be chill. I didn't tell you that.
Well, you did say that to me actually in our
Oh, I
Slack
did.
channel.
That's
You did
true.
say
That's a lie. I did say
you
that.
lie. But I mean, ice cream is so crazy that there's so many places around, and people have their places to go. Like they know that, like growing up or where they live or whatever. Even there's probably people that live next to Spencer's, and that Spencer's is not even their spot. That somewhere else in Bangor or in Bucksport or whatever is their spot. And then there's people who live down here in Orrington, who was like, okay, we got to go to Spencer's. We got to drive by 3 or 4 places before we get to Spencer's and get to Spencer's because that's where we want to eat. But you're lucky, I think lucky enough where you are that there isn't a ton of places around you. Is that true or?
Yeah, the closest place we have right now for ice cream, I guess that's competition would be Dairy Queen, and that's all the way in Old Town.
Yeah.
So we do kind of have like a pretty select market over here. I'm actually from Orrington as well, so I have a lot of family and friends that come out here just because they know me and stuff. And I went to Brewer High School, so I have most of the brewer community that come out here as well. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, there are definitely people that live around here that go to Bangor and stuff because they make it a destination and the whole trip out of it. So it's cool, but it's also cool when people stop in here that are definitely not from here.
Yes, exactly. And we know that. I mean, speaking of Brewer High School, a little birdie told me, called the Bangor Daily News, that did you actually purchase or take over Spencer's when you were still in high school?
Yeah, I was just wrapping up high school. Like we were already starting like marching practice and everything. But I mean, kind of came on the market, and I was like, this is the time to, I guess, get started. So with help of my family, we started. We bought it 2 days later. We opened up, and we haven't closed since.
That's insane. I can't imagine. I mean, we were just talking about, I waited 30 till I was 35 to have a baby. I can't imagine owning my own business when I'm not even like technically, or even decided. Obviously, you didn't take over. You were almost out of high school, so it's not like you bought it your freshman year of high school. But to even think about the idea of taking on a business fresh out of high school is insane to me.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam started his own business, draft line cleaning. What? How old are you now?
27.
Hey, liar.
No, I'm 41.
And you started your own line cleaning business. Can you imagine starting your own line cleaning business when you're just barely getting out of high school?
It would have been a lot easier on my back.
Well, yeah. I mean, lifting up tubs of ice cream. How heavy are the big tubs of ice cream you guys make?
Oh my gosh.
They're about like 7 pounds.
Okay. It's not too bad. My
Yeah,
baby's
it's not
9. I can do that now.
Yeah, there you go.
Justin's got 1 7-pound container under control.
Yeah, exactly. I can't do more than that. I'm trying to think about it because I mean, obviously, run the podcast is a lot. It helps. It's not a really business aspect of it. I have no employees. There's no major bookkeeping or anything like that because obviously this is pretty much nonprofit. I mean, this is probably just costing me money. But the idea that to have all that responsibility and stuff like that, was there a lot of stress coming out in the very beginning of it, or do you think you just roll into it and just go with the punches?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely stressful, but kind of, rolled with the punches. And when I was growing up, my dad and mom are both entrepreneurs and they own their own businesses and they've always have. So it's kind of been second nature for me to think that's how it should be run, I guess.
Sure.
And I guess I had to learn as I went kind of thing. I was also going to school, but they don't really teach you that kind of stuff when you're in school. They don't teach you how to manage people.
That's a fact.
So I learned that kind of from experience, but it's kind of been rolling with the punches for sure.
That's
Do
awesome.
you find that opening process like really exciting though? Despite it being stressful. I've never opened my own, but I've been involved with a couple of businesses during their opening, and it's so much fun. Like it's so high energy when you're opening.
Yeah, there's just so much stuff going on. It's every day. It seems like there's like multiple things to look forward to, plus stuff that you don't even expect. It just pops up out of nowhere. So probably the first 2 years were the craziest for us, and we've kind of been able to maintain that level for throughout. But those first 2 years, we didn't really know exactly what we were doing, um, and it was crazy around here. A lot of overnights making ice cream and early trips up north to deliver, and we were all over the place.
Yeah. That chaos is kind of fun though. I miss those. Yeah.
And obviously I don't own my own business, but in the same sense, it was like when we opened our brewing company, the Margin Street location. I'm so high up and so involved in all the decision making processes there that it's the same idea that I was just like, it was just so much so quick. But it was like, if you told me tomorrow it was gonna be as busy or as stressful as it was back in 2018 when we opened up Orno Brewing Company, I'd quit because there was not the beginning part. There was something about that beginning opening and like saying how awesome it was and people were excited to be there and all that stuff. That the very beginning of opening a new project is always pretty sweet. But I mean, you opened it, you had a pretty busy couple of years, and then you got hit with the pandemic.
Yeah.
No one teaches you that either, huh? No one's like all of a sudden out of nowhere. Oh, by
the
way,
you're
craving
successful. Coronavirus.
And then you had to navigate the pandemic. I mean, how was that? I mean, was that difficult for you? Or I mean, obviously it's difficult for you. It's a stupid question, but like, how did you handle that? How was that something that you dealt with?
Well, we kind of woke up one morning and they were like, you can't let anybody in your lobby anymore. So we ended up cutting a hole in the side of the building and making a drive-through window. And
Heck yeah.
it took about like 12 hours. We had that all set up. And then that's kind of, we ran business honestly like that ever since. It's been a lot more efficient that way. People can either come up on the porch or go through the drive-through. And we have a bunch of riverfront tables. And,
nice.
It's a lot more enjoyable for the customers, that's for sure. I mean, our lobby is pretty nice, but it is also from 1933. So it does have some quirks about it. But I mean, the drive-through is awesome and people are very patient with us. So we've been able to develop a system for that. And honestly, we're pretty quick now. So I enjoy it. It's a lot less stressful for us. So.
Yeah, sure.
I love hearing that though. Like the stories I talk to people who are business owners or people who've worked for companies or high up in companies, and they decide to do like all of a sudden I know just completely drastic things, meaning that like, okay, I'm gonna bust a hole in the wall that we can do something that we don't normally do for business. That takes a pandemic for you to decide to do it. Like you probably would maybe have not been there if you hadn't had the pandemic hit. Like maybe you may not have put that hole in the wall and put a drive-through in. But it's something like the pandemic hits and it's like, okay, get the chainsaw out. We're gonna start cutting a hole in the wall because we need to make something happen so that we can be successful and still drive the business. I mean, it was with Orno Brewing Company with the whole patio. We just like all of a sudden out of nowhere, we were just like, bam, we got to put a new patio in. And you know, even if it's going to cost us money, it may set us back a second so we can go forward again. But it was one of those things that you just have to do. And to hear that thought process that you had to just, okay, let's just put a hole in the wall and we'll make it so people can't come in, but we can still do business. So, I mean, and you distribute some too, right?
Yeah. We pretty much all over northern Maine. So that part really didn't change for us. It actually got a little bit increased because people were staying home. So they were going to the store and buying it and then taking it home. And that the northern side of the state ramped up so much that we got a distributor. We are now with Rustic Foods. So they pretty much supply all the stores up there for us. So we don't have to go up north anymore.
Nice.
Thankfully, because that was a lot of time saved.
So it's a time save, not that you don't like the northern part of the state. You just time save, right?
Yeah, I know. I love northern Maine. The people up there are awesome. It's just a lot of highway time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're focusing on southern part of the state now, and hopefully getting a couple more distributors and simplifying that whole process. But we're also kind of hitting capacity on our end over here, so that's a good problem to have, I guess. We're looking for some more space to make ice cream, I guess, which we haven't done yet. So that should be exciting to do.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Awkward silence.
I know. I was just trying to think at which point we'll throw it in now. Why not? We talked about your favorite flavor, and then Justin kind of dropped the ball on his favorite flavor there. And so, Jack, what's the people's most popular flavor? That, of course, is the most important question.
I think it always has been and always will be chocolate peanut butter fudge. I think that one's it's undefeated for sure.
That is the correct answer.
We can't even keep it in stock usually, and it takes a long time to make. Honestly, people don't really
Yeah.
expect like that, but we use I think it's like almost like a gallon of chocolate pretty much like every time we make a run of that. So it's a
That's
lot of
awesome.
chocolate just to put in the little tiny hole. And
Yeah. Do
but
people like chocolate peanut butter milkshakes? Because that was my jam growing up. Chocolate peanut butter milkshakes.
oh yeah, they fly
Nice.
out of here. And on Mondays we do milkshake Monday, so they're $5, and the
That's
machine
awesome.
doesn't stop.
Perfect.
That's awesome. I'm more of a like I'm a good cone is always good for me, or a good Sunday. But to me, it's like if I'm gonna go to, because 90% of the time I'm the one driving, and so it's like either we stop and we take time to actually sit there and eat it, or I have to try to do it while I'm moving. So to me, a milkshake has always been one of those things. You get the same flavors a lot of times,
Yep.
And it's just the ease of like getting it into your gullet. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we get them a lot of times. Taylor gets them too, but like she'll eat a cone or a cup next to me, and I'll be sitting there driving with the milkshake and a chocolate peanut butter. Chocolate's always my go-to. You do chocolate peanut butter is great. Coffee. I will not eat vanilla ice cream by itself. Just don't. There's no point.
That should probably be a crime, honestly.
Yeah.
You got to go out of your comfort zone a little bit with your ice cream.
What I don't like is the people who get split up these obscure flavors in the same bowl. That to me,
so Justin,
what
you would say your tastes are not very vanilla. And it's like the only time I'm ever going to be able to use that phrase properly in my life is in this conversation.
Ice, baby, vanilla ice. Now I'm just trying to roll with it. It's not working. You cornied the whole room up. But I just like the people who put ice cream together. Like you put like, black raspberry and some sort of obscure other flavor. Like, I don't know, some places have been making like lobster flavor ice cream and stuff like that. Like just weird combinations that I'm just like, what are you doing? Those are mixing. You shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they usually put a weird sauce.
Yes.
On top or something.
Yeah. Well, that's me, I guess. I mean, I used to get coffee ice cream with like peanut butter sauce on it.
Yeah.
That's not that weird, actually. Yeah. People do that quite a bit here.
I don't know what else I would do differently. I mean, I like my hot fudge Sundays, and I also love like banana splits for sure. Those are like, go-tos. But
we actually have a banana split milkshake. So we take everything that's in a banana split and then we put it into a milkshake.
Why are we at Spencer's doing this right now?
That's a great question.
We should have just delayed it till you were in town, so we could be at Spencer's and eating ice cream.
We're just gonna have to do it again, I guess.
Yeah, we'll do a live stream from Spencer's. That'd be fun.
That's a good idea.
That'd be great. So Jack, you mentioned we're on toppings. What's your feeling on toppings? What's your favorite topping? People's favorite toppings?
I'm a classic guy. I'm more of like a hot fudge, or I sometimes go with the black raspberry sauce, but I also like peanut butter cups. So if I'm gonna throw something on top, that's usually what I go for, or Kit Kats. But usually I stay away from the whipped cream too, because that kind of gets a little messy. But
all right,
we do have some really good sundaes here. We have, I think, over 25 sundaes that we kind of cycle out, and some of them they have like. We do one with like a cider donut. We do one with a Brusik Needhams. We do one with we're coming out with a strawberry rhubarb one, which is going to be a hit. And we do some fun ones like that. That as soon as we announce them, they're pretty much we have to hold on because
that's awesome.
They start going.
Well, that's
strawberry
cool too,
rhubarb sounds great.
With your thought process, the whole like if you think about places and you buy ice cream in a supermarket. They can create whatever's in that container. But because you have your own shop in Bradley, it's also kind of cool because you can create your own ice creams and then you can create things to make around with them with having the sundaes and those specials and things like that. That's really cool. I never, it wasn't until you started mentioning we have these many sundaes that I even thought about that. To me, it was always like the ice cream in the container is the only thing that you do.
Yeah.
But it's not. Like obviously there's way more to this. Milkshakes, there's different things. I mean, we made a beer with you at Orono Brewing Company. We Jack came over and brewed a beer with us, and that came out for his 21st birthday. And that was a super hit. And again, it was the chocolate peanut butter. I mean, we had to do play the favorites. You got to play the favorites for the fans. I actually took one and put the chocolate peanut butter fudge ice cream in a container with the beer and made my own beer float. I don't know if you got an opportunity to do that with your cans of beer that you got from us, but it's definitely worth it. And maybe you can't do it with our beer anymore because it's not around. But if you try like a like a peanut butter stout or some sort of chocolate stout and some ice cream. Good beer float is also
Oh,
good. It's
I'll
also a
definitely
good
have to
thing.
try that out.
Yeah,
I'll have to try it out.
We should have had this conversation when we actually had the beer around. But I think I just drank my last can. Honestly, I was gonna like, oh, maybe I have a can here somewhere, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Not even the returnables. I think I already returned it.
I have 1 4-pack left that I'm saving for
Oh,
someone, and
there
that's
you go.
Yeah.
It's dangerous saving something for someone because you're like, it's right there. I'm thirsty.
It's like liquid gold too. Someone might come in and just raid the fridge. You never know what's gonna happen.
Well, we've had so many people email us at Orno Brewing Company. We've been like, oh, I brought some tubular back to Tennessee, and I know you guys don't distribute down here, but like, I didn't realize it. And I had a friend come over, and it was my son's, and he was supposed to be back next week, and I drank it. Is there any way you can mail us something? And I'm like, I can't mail to Tennessee and all this stuff. And it's just like one of those things that you have to like, people don't think to label things.
Yeah.
Do not drink this.
I brought 3 OBC 4-packs here for family when we were visiting. They're gone. Yeah. They're all gone, which is good. Good sign.
How do you, speaking of we talk about flavors and stuff, how do you decide on the flavors? What do you like? Is there a process, or is it just something that just comes to you, or do you have input from your employees too on what we should make for flavors?
I get input from pretty much everyone at this point. Yeah. I think usually it's the customers that someone will comment something on Facebook, and then you'll notice it gets like 15 likes. And then I'm like, all right, the people want that one. And then we'll add it to the rotation or something like that. My girlfriend's come up with a few. My mom is definitely, she's creative when it comes to that stuff. So she's always thinking of something. She comes up with more of like the stranger ones. Like her signature one, I guess, is like the honey lavender or something like that we came out with. We haven't done it in a while, but that was her whole creation. And also old-fashioned molasses, which actually we do still have now, but that was her as well.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I mean, I'm guessing you obviously have to try these. It's not like one of those you just throw them together and make a big batch of them. Do you have to make like small test batches of them, or do you try to make some and then if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't? I mean,
so we make 10 gallons at a time.
Okay.
And we can do like a half batch, and we'll make 5 gallons, which is still like a lot of ice cream if it's not good ice cream. And honestly, we've only ever had one that I'm like, I'm not even gonna eat that. It was we tried to make strawberry daiquiri. It tasted like hand soap, and I was just like, that's it. We're gonna throw that out. And
you didn't relabel it hand soap ice cream.
Yeah.
It probably could have, marketing, but we tried to do a barbecue ice cream too, but we only did I put it into like a pint of ice cream and then just stirred the barbecue sauce up, and it was not good. So
didn't work.
We're thinking about a dill pickle ice cream, but it can't be sour.
No.
Right.
So
but that's fun though.
If you can get the dill flavor in there, because people do flock to pickles. Like, it's insane how much the fandom of pickles is out there.
Yeah, and the dill part, I think you're right, Justin. Like that part, I love dill. So
could you just put dill in it, like the actual flavoring, like the spice of dill? I don't know if that would work.
Potentially. Our number one fan, he comes here pretty much every day. His name's Tim. That's his recommendation. He's always stuck to it. He goes, if you make a dill pickle flavored ice cream, I'll come here even more. I told him, like, don't worry, I'll just send you some at that point, because I don't know.
I'll come here even more. Is it like, I guess the thing would be, if you don't make it, I won't come anymore, because if he comes every day already, like
oh no, he's for sure my number one fan, and we hook him up all the time. He's so dedicated that he actually got one of our logos tattooed on his leg.
That's really that's what I was gonna. It sounds like you have a great community, and that's like, for me, that's always one of my favorite things to see in a small business. Like I said, when you have customers threatening to just come more if you make ice cream flavors, then I think sounds like you've got a great little community.
Yeah, we definitely have some great fans, and we love them, and we definitely take care of them when they come.
That's awesome.
Out here, so
that's super cool.
They're local. I know. For a little while there, you can get your ice cream at restaurants too, or is that not something you do right now? Like, can you buy them at actual restaurants?
We're doing that. Yeah. Okay. We're at Governor's in Bangor and Old Town, and we're picking up a lot more here and there. I just talked with Mark the other day. We'll be back at Woodman's here pretty soon, thankfully.
Nice.
And Yeah, we got a couple other restaurants around here that they do like milkshakes and stuff like that. Canoe in Old Town, they
Mhm.
do some really cool desserts with their ice cream. They jazz them up and everything, and they're reasonably priced too. So I recommend if you guys ever go out to dinner, try out the desserts at Canoe.
Canoe. Yeah,
That
it's right
sounds
on the
awesome.
rooftop, right? Yeah.
Oh
Have it right
yeah.
up on the rooftop. Look over at Old Town. It's a beautiful spot. I haven't got a chance to be there yet, but I've seen pictures and I've talked to Chris Rudolph, and man, that place looks beautiful. It's insane to see. I mean, I used to. My ex-wife lived in her family lives in the Old Town area, and we would go to Old Town a lot, and seeing something like Canoe in downtown Old Town just still
Yeah.
baffles me. Like it still goes, this is Old Town. Nothing against Old Town. I
It
love
is
Old Town, but I'm just saying
so
like
nice.
Oh
it's
yeah.
so nice for where it is, and that's like I'm so hopeful that will help with that whole block to help with the rejuvenation of that block and bring it back
Yep.
to life a little bit because
Yeah.
I think it needs it.
I lived in Old Town for a few years. It's nice to see stuff going on for sure.
That's awesome.
And I've actually I got to check out the second floor of that building, and it's like a nightclub or a night. I'm not sure what else they're going to be doing up there, but it's state of the art. It is so
That's
nice. They
cool.
have a
That's
huge
awesome.
projector screen, so that should be nice when that opens up too.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. It's like I said, I'm loving to see this. So like a lot around the world, obviously all of us got hit by the pandemic and there's places closing and crap like that. But it's also looked good to see these places that are opening up. And Canoe basically opened up basically towards the end of this pandemic, but they had to fight through it and being like, we're going to open this at some point, and they got out there and did that. And so it's cool to see that happening and seeing that places like you survived and other places around the area that actually was able to either survive, or a lot of the companies I'm looking at have like additions going on and like new patios and all that stuff. So it's just pretty cool too. So I'm really excited about what the next 14 months looks like around this area
Yeah.
and stuff too. And I'm guessing for you too, it must be nice because you're kind of you're not a seasonal business, but you are a seasonal business. You close it all like for a season, or you just open all year round?
Last year was the first time that we closed in the winter,
Okay.
but we still do wholesale. So you're able to get our ice
Yeah.
cream, but we closed down the shop in Bradley because we don't get enough traffic out here during the
Okay.
winter.
What's
So I mean,
the busiest time of the year for ice cream?
Pretty much from Mother's Day up until like Halloween,
Gotcha.
like we're slammed.
That's cool.
Um,
So it pushes into the fall pretty well into October. That's awesome.
yeah, we do like a lot of we started doing like warm Sundays, so it has like a warm donut or stuff like that
That's
on top
cool.
of it. So it's not too bad to get it in colder weather.
No, that sounds great.
I never got it either. I drink iced coffee all through the winter, so why can't I drink ice cream or eat ice cream in the winter?
Exactly.
I don't understand that either. But I mean, I understand the idea of like sitting outside and going for a walk and like having the windows down in your car when you pick up some ice cream. But like, you still could eat ice cream in the wintertime. So come on, people, get out to Bradley. No, but so I mean, is rainy days worse than you two, or is it like sunny days the best days
Oh,
out there?
yeah, hot, sunny, humid days. This place is packed. Like overcast days, we still get some traffic, but whenever the rain hits, people
Yeah.
just tend not to come. It rains, I guess, not ice cream weather.
Yeah. But so it's one of those days if you're not feeling like, oh, I don't want to go to work today. You look outside and it's raining. You're like, oh, thank God, it's gonna be an easy day. I used to have a buddy
It's
of
not
mine
too
that
bad.
I worked at in Massachusetts who worked construction with his dad, and I'd be sleeping and I'd wake up and I'd hear him in the other room. He used to get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and I used to work for 10, and I'd hear him in the room at like 9:30. I'm like, oh, it must be raining, because he wouldn't go to work because it was construction work, and he's like, oh, we don't work on rainy days. What are you talking about?
Yep. It's that classic thing, and just in the industry in general, all of us, including you, Jack, but I know Justin and I joke where it's that the days that you're like, man, where is everybody? Why is everybody not in here? And then the next day it rains and you're like, thank God it's raining. Nobody's here. And it's that constant back and forth between where is everybody and wait, there's too many people.
Well, we have this during the day. I remember Cal used to talk about too. He'd be like, it'd be dead all day. A Saturday, be dead 12 to 7. And we're like, oh, cool. And then like, as the day progresses, like, okay, day's almost over. Great. And then you get a rush of people. And you're
7:30.
Like, you're pissed earlier there was no one in there because you weren't making any money. And then you're pissed there were people in there later on in the night because now you have to actually work, even though all day you didn't have to work pretty much.
That's it. That's the endless cycle.
It is. It's the endless cycle. Yeah. And but the thing with us in the patio now, and one of those things for us is like, or in a brewing company, I wake up in the morning and it's like, oh, 25 to 30% chance of rain all day. And I'm like, rain or don't. because the patio
Right.
is a thing where it's like has to be opened or not open. And if it's going to be
Yeah.
this crappy back and forth thing that maybe you'll be busy, maybe you won't, and you can plan that day out. But if it's like sunny and 80, great. We'll be packed. It'll be nice. If it's raining, then we'll be packed inside and we can staff accordingly and make sure, all that stuff. But if it's that day where it's like it might rain a few showers here and might do Saturday was like that. Saturday was like it rained at like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, somewhere around there, like completely torrential downpour. Then I look at the rest of the day and it's like 20-30%. So we're like, God, now we have to go clean all the tables off, but it might rain
Yes.
again. It's just one of those things like rain or don't. I wish it would be like that. Just don't, one or the other. I don't care. I just want one of the other. But again, more awkward silence. Right.
Have you ever told this story about how you guys were gonna or how you told me you guys were gonna make the beer for me? I think you were there for it, but it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah. I don't remember, because I was upstairs when you actually met with them.
So Mark had texted me. It was, I think, the beginning of October, and he had. So I didn't even thought about my birthday yet, really. And then he texted me like normal and was like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about making an ice cream beer." And when I read it in my head, I was thinking he wanted to make a beer ice cream. And so he was like, "Come on down to the brewery, we'll talk about it." And then we set up a time. I went down there and I thought I was just meeting with him. And sure enough, it was all of the
Yeah.
owners, and it was awesome. They were pretty much like, "So what's your favorite kind of ice cream?" And um, I was like, "Black raspberry." And Asa was like, "Well, we do that, but I grow the berries, so I can't do that right now." And I'm like, "Hey, that's okay." So chocolate peanut butter came up, and then they're like, "Okay, yeah, so we're just gonna start this. We'll let you know what we need from you, and this is gonna be awesome." And so about a week later, I guess you reached out to me with the
Mm.
can label, and then the week after that we were canning.
Yeah.
Came in for canning day. I wasn't even 21 yet, so
Yeah.
that was my first time really even in the brewery,
Yeah.
and I was just like, this is so cool. And obviously for me it was probably different from my experience too, because I'd never been in something like that, but it was just like, it was almost like it was breathtaking, pretty much, like with the whole, like, all of everything going on. There were so many people running around, the
Mm-hmm.
pallets getting filled up like
Yep.
nothing. I was like, that must take forever. And then you guys were just like hammering them right out. I was like, you guys are efficient. That's probably what I'm getting at here.
They are a well-oiled machine.
The way they are, and they try, and they just, it's, the faster we can get beer out, the faster we can sell. I mean, obviously it probably works for you guys the same way with ice cream. The faster you can get it in a container, the faster people can buy it and then make the business grow. But it's funny too, because I laugh because I'm like, a lot of people out there, there's a lot of beer drinkers out there who are 41 years old, like Adam, who've never had a beer at a restaurant or a bar or a brewery made for them. And then here's Jack
Yeah.
Watkins, this guy from Bradley, owns a shop in Bradley, who's not even 21 yet, and he gets his own beer. And it was just like laughing. I was like, there might be people who are loving this. There might be people who are writing you hate letters. They're like, what the hell, man? You get your own beer and you're not even 21 yet, man. That sucks. No, but then it came out like a week or a couple of days or something like that before your birthday, because we all usually come out on a Friday or a Saturday. So we're like holding cases off to the side for Jack to make sure he got some before his birthday. But like trying to make it so like, okay, we're not giving him to him before his birthday because he's not 21 yet. And then I think we had some towards the end. I was like, hey, buddy, come back and get some more. So I ended up giving you another case towards the end of it to make sure that you got some more. And I brought a few 4-packs out to Mike and Karen's house, but good friends of mine. They just posted a picture the other day of them drinking one, and it held up. It's a great beer. It's just one of those ones that's like, if I go out to a restaurant, I can't chug 4 or 5 of them in a night. It's a nice sipping beer. It's got the flavors all in there, and you can tell that it has those chocolate peanut butter flavors, which is fascinating because there's no peanut butter actually in it. It's a flavoring.
Yeah.
There's real chocolate. It was a chocolate sauce in it, and then also we made it as a cream ale, which is kind of cool because we made an ice cream ale.
Yeah.
And it throws people off because when you pour it into a glass, it's more of a clear, amber color, not a dark color where people expected chocolate peanut to be more of a stout, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, almost everybody assumed it was a stout, and then I was like, no, you got to try it. It's really light. It's not overbearing.
Yeah.
Like, you can drink it honestly, I had a couple warm too, just because they were on whatever days, and they're awesome warm too. There's a really good flavor to it.
That's the way you can tell if a beer is good, if you can drink it warm.
I think so.
The ultimate test.
I mean, people in England drink it warm too. That's gross though.
But it was probably the best surprise I've ever had, and definitely for my 21st birthday, it was cool to be able to give out presents instead of honestly get some. It was a cool experience.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I think we should, but to continue that conversation, I think that's a conversation we now need to have at some point to make some sort of ice cream at Spencer's that has, it could even be something along the lines, it's not actual beer flavor, but if you get the notes from like Tubular, for an example, how it has like grapefruit and stuff like that, and do some sort of fruited, or you can do a fruitful. We have the fruitful kettle sour, like not like with the beer, but like flavors that match the beer. So you can have our own series at Spencer's. I mean, obviously, that would be kind of cool too to repay the favor so people can go over to Spencer's. And we did the special too for a little while there, where when you released it, you could buy a 4-pack and a pint of ice cream from Spencer's. You could get it at OBC. So we did actually we were a quote unquote retail shop of Spencer's ice cream there for a little bit at OBC during when we did pick up. You could come by and pick up a 4-pack of Spencer's ice cream, or 4-pack of the beer and a thing of ice cream too, which was kind of cool. We sold through them pretty quickly too.
Yeah,
people like your ice cream. Not as much as people like our beer. No, I'm kidding. Just as much as people like our beer. It's different. But you have the lucky part about you can sell it to anybody at any age.
Exactly.
I have a demographic of 21 or older that I can only sell to. So
that is true.
Yeah. But I think, so any plans for the future at all? Like nothing I don't want to spoil anything you have, like secret plans you have for the future, but anything you like, any cool flavors you have coming out or things you're doing this summer that you're looking to get back into?
Yeah, we got the classic strawberry and blueberry rhubarb coming up. Those are seasonal hits. We only do those I think twice a year, so get them while they're out. We're pretty much booked for events all the way through Halloween, so we'll be out and about on the road, so you'll most likely see us. If you go to any events, we'll be there. Big one coming up is Beats and Eats in Bangor. Definitely recommend checking out that if you never have. It's a really fun event. And I think that's pretty much it. We got to, always check out our Facebook. We announce almost everything on there. We should have some collaboration flavors coming up they're in the works. I don't want to spoil them yet, but they're exciting, and keep an eye out.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
And, anything else you wanted to talk about, Adam? Any questions you have?
I think we've covered the ice cream questions. I guess I'll ask a non-ice cream quick question for you just for fun. So you got the rest of your summer. What are your non-ice cream plans? Anything fun going on in trips or adventures or hobbies or?
Well, actually, I booked a cruise and it got canceled because of COVID. So hopefully, gonna schedule that and go on that.
Nice.
Besides that, honestly, I only played like men's league hockey on Sundays.
That's awesome.
Pretty much it. So I don't do too much besides make ice cream.
I'm sure the ice cream keeps you very, very, very busy.
Yeah,
but a trip will be nice. A trip will be nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm excited for you on that too, because a lot of us are trying to get back to that norm. Tomorrow, going to Wells to visit my grandmother, my mom's mom and dad, and so my son will get to meet his great grandparents. Yeah. And I haven't gone like south of Newport in months. So it's like nice to see that actually be able to get out of town and go somewhere. And Adam, you traveled to Illinois. That's attractive.
I haven't. It's been weird. We've talked to we haven't really left the house though, because that's what we're so used to. So we're still kind of hanging out here.
Well, it's like, the funny thing is I talked to someone the other day about it, and it was like, now that you can hang out, everybody wants to hang out. And then it's like, well, then I'm also like used to not hanging out. So it's like, let me just ease back into this. I'll hang out with some people here slowly. And a couple weeks later, I don't want to just eat every night again. That's like, I'm going to go pour and I'm going to be tired and all that stuff. So I was like, just like ease back into this here, man. Like, let's just take our time and get in there. But so we're looking forward to being able to get out and about. And that's something hopefully you'll be able to do this summer too. Obviously, I'm guessing most of your out and about things or vacations are happening between the months of, November to April, right? That's when you probably get to take the most of your time off if you get time off.
Yeah, honestly, kind of feel like a snowbird when I do that. I head out whenever it starts to fly.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, that's what it is. And there's people who definitely only have, I mean, you were lucky enough to have retail business, wholesale business during the wintertime.
Yeah.
But there is companies who basically are like Bar Harbor companies, Bar Harbor restaurants, where it's like they open this date to this date and they had the time off and they just bust ass through,
Yeah.
a couple of months to get things done. And then they get to take some time off. So that's pretty cool too. I kind of wish I would, we were talking about the other day, we wish that bartending shifts could be like 312s. So you just work your ass off for 12-hour shifts, and then you have 4 days off. Because that would be pretty sweet too. Like get into the nursing and doctors' schedules. But yeah, so but you can find Spencer's on Facebook, right? You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram.
Yep.
Posting all that stuff up there, all your new flavors and all the things you have going up and all your events and all that stuff are all on there. You have a website too, I'm guessing, right?
Yep, spencersicecream.com.
Cool.
Nice.
And what's your address?
We're at 77 Main Street in Bradley, Maine.
Cool.
Very cool.
So you can check that out and go up there. And you're open. Are you open 7 days a week now?
Yep. We're open right now 12 to 8.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So you can go up and get your ice cream fix, and Adam and I can swing by sometime when he gets back from Illinois and get some ice cream up there for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I'm bringing up too, because the next recording, the next podcast after yours is with Mark Horton from Widman's. So we'll name drop Spencer's on that podcast too, to make sure that he's getting on a schedule to make sure that Spencer's ice cream is at Widman's again.
That's right.
Put the pressure on him, right? Be like, yeah, we talked to Jack. He says, he said all you're going to do is serve an entire Spencer's ice cream menu. Is what I was.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Everything: steaks and ice cream, burgers and ice cream.
Yeah.
You can sub out your fries for a scoop of ice cream. Is what I heard.
Yeah, no more drinks. It's all milkshakes.
Nope. All milkshakes, all frozen drinks. There you go. Yeah.
Really, that sounds fantastic.
Summertime only. Spencer's ice cream. We're gonna put your logo below the Orono Brewing Company and Women's logo on the door.
We'll all gain 100 pounds.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. So check out Spencer's on Instagram and on Facebook, and visit their website, spencersicecream.com. Visit them out in Bradley for sure. And give them your love and stuff like that in the Bangor area. And if you're not in the Bangor area, look at your local supermarket or whatever, like I said, in northern Maine, different places that sell it, and hopefully spreading more to southern Maine, and get some Spencer's ice cream, because it's made locally. It's delicious. It's summertime, so you should be eating it again. Yeah. Anything else you want to add there, Jack?
I think that's it.
I think you covered it all. Sweet, man. I really appreciate you coming on. We really appreciate you listening too. I mean, Jack's a regular listener too. So,
thanks,
we love
Jack.
seeing that. Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to have on, someone who likes to listen to the podcast as well.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to check out any other podcasts, I swore the No Dunks podcast. I did a podcast, a special edition one, listening to our friends' podcast, the people we like. And No Dunks podcast is one of them. I decided to wear that today on the podcast for those who were watching it. And so, yeah. So this episode was Jack, from Spencer's Ice Cream. And again, follow him on Instagram, Facebook, and visit their website. Visit him on in Bradley. I think that's it. I think I'm good right now. What do you think about Adam? Good?
I think we're good. Yeah. I think if you hear this
really
and
good
you're
at
sitting
closing
around
these
and you're
out.
not doing anything, go get some ice cream right now.
We're really
Right
good
now.
at closing these episodes out really awkwardly. And
Yeah, it's very awkward.
when there's more than one host.
And of
But
course,
really-
like I said, I was like, let's do this remotely the first time. That'll make sure that our banter is perfect.
Exactly. So, I get the whole studio set up, and Adam's like, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
Right? We have our own new
That's it.
studio, and you're not going to be here. So we've only done one episode here so far.
Next time.
Yeah, next time. Exactly. Well, not next time, because next time's Mark, and you're not going to be there either. But after that, the next time, you'll be there.
Yeah. Next time.
Sweet. But yeah, we'll come out and see you, Jack, at some point too, and we'll do. It'll be kind of cool. Like I said, we kind of cool to set up to do some sort of live stream thing also from the shop and try. Some
That could be a fun
Give
first
us some
test of the live stream at
Yes.
Spencer's.
Exactly, because if we don't do it well, we could just drown ourselves in ice cream.
Exactly.
But-
Yes.
Sweet.
I look forward to it.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Really appreciate you coming on, and again, looking forward to seeing you soon. And visit Spencer's Ice Cream in Bradley. Thanks, man.
Pleasure.
See you, Jack.